Hi, I'm Jane Turner from writewithjane.com. And I couldn't say yes quickly enough when Jo Worthy asked me if I would work with her to pull together an anthology. And that's what I've been quite busy with over the last few months. And it has been an absolute joy to work with the wonderful women that Jo has brought together. Now, I, in some cases, helped people to unpick their ideas, to get a really clear sense of what they wanted to write their chapter about. And in other cases, some people just hit the ground running. So ultimately, my job was to coordinate the whole process and to just make it as easy as possible for the authors. And then that, of course, included editing, proofreading, and ultimately publishing the book. And I'm really excited to say that Jo is going to be launching that book at my author showcase event at the State Library of New South Wales on the 30th of November. But what I'm going to do now is just tell you a little bit about each of the chapters, and I'm hoping I'm not going to be downselling them because some of them have, maybe 3 or 4 really important themes running through them. But I just want to give you a little bit of a snapshot of what you'll get when you read the book. Now, this is Jo Worthy herself. Now, this woman is a force of nature as far as I'm concerned. And as I say in the introduction to this book, I attended Jo's 2023 Worthy Women Rising conference, and it literally changed my life. So, needless to say, I was right on board from the get-go the minute she asked me to give her a hand to pull this book project together. So I'm going to be mentioning the authors in no particular order, starting with Kes Wickham St George. Now, Kes actually wrote about the things that she's achieved in the world of writing, including her popular book reviews and having a film made out of one of her books, while dealing with significant difficulties, such as a period where she had to come to terms with the possibility of spending the rest of her life in a wheelchair. And the author you're looking at now is Dena Swiskowski. And Dena's chapter covers what it's like to grow up as an adoptee and the questions around identity that can emerge under those circumstances. Now, in her particular case, they emerged fairly recently because hers wasn't an unhappy childhood in any way at all. She was adopted by 2 loving people who provided everything she needed to go on and live a good life. Yet that question of identity is one that she writes about in her chapter. And the next author I want to introduce you to is Kylie Burton. If you're anything like me, you're likely to be blown away by the amount of adversity that Kylie went through to get to where she is now. Among other things, she came through 3 car accidents, 2 of which were very serious, as well as decades of living with anorexia. But the part of Kylie's story that literally took my breath away was when her daughter told her that she thought she had an eating disorder as well. But like the other authors in this book, Kylie has gone on to do some amazing things that I'll leave you to find out for yourself when you read her chapter. Then there's the absolutely heartbreaking story that Diane Garland shares about the unspeakable childhood experiences of abuse that she went through, only to have history repeat itself when she marries someone who also abused her, before she got to learn about the power of gratitude. And boy, did she need to know about that when the love of her life that she ultimately met up with sadly passed away. But this isn't a sob story by any means. Like the other authors, Diane Garland is an absolute poster child for resilience and strength and courage. And to read about her going through what she went through and the way she now helps other people herself is just an inspiration in and of itself. And we have Antonietta Peel, who talks about the power of manifestation. And the clarion call in her chapter is for people to wake up and realise that we all have free will when it comes to creating our own reality, even though we live in a world full of fear and disconnection that boils down to a battle between the ego and the soul. And then there's Donna Arnold, who is a natural storyteller, who talks about the incredible power of synchronicities and the way that changing our perspective will enable us to live an empowered life. Now, I think you're going to love Donna's chapter because it's ever so gentle, but at the same time, very, very profound. And not dislike Donna Arnold, Gigi Lindros has written a light-hearted, but at the same time quite serious chapter where she talks about ditching her so-called inner bitch by reminding herself and anyone reading her chapter that we are all good enough. And I don't know about you, but I know exactly what Gigi means by the idea of the inner bitch. It's that nasty little voice in our head telling us that we're not good enough to do this or to do that, and that we're not worthy of achieving our dreams. So like Gigi says, let's ditch that bitch. And last but not least, we have a beautiful chapter written by Leanne Kime, sharing her story of working with invisible helpers called spirit guides, who have helped her to get through life-threatening situations and to position herself to be able to help others to meet their spirit guides. And what I love about Leanne's chapter is that she includes the steps for anyone reading it who wants to connect with their own spirit guides. So this is not just about you reading the chapter, but possibly going further and following Leanne's advice. So that's just a little bit of a rundown on what you'll get if you grab yourself a copy of Rising into Greatness, and what a fantastic Christmas present for any women in particular in your life. Not necessarily though, there's no reason whatsoever why this won't help men as well, but certainly it is pitched towards women. So over and out for now, and reach out to myself or Jo Worthy if you'd like to know a little bit more about this book and how you can get your hands on it.